I fixed the alien princess's armor. Come to my room. I have a reward for you, human, she purred. Alex Carter worked in the maintenance bay of the orbital station Artemis, a place where humans and aliens tried to coexist, but often failed to notice one another. Alex was small, quiet, and mostly invisible to the others. The aliens considered humans weak and unskilled, and the human crew mostly stayed in their corners, tinkering with old machines that seemed useless to the more advanced visitors. Alex didn't mind being overlooked. He liked machines. He liked understanding how things worked. He liked fixing what others could not. The station itself was huge, a floating city of metal and glass suspended above a gas giant. Lights ran along the corridors, shifting colors depending on the schedule. Alien ships docked in massive bays, their hulls strange and gleaming. Humans wandered among them, carrying tools and charts, always careful not to bump into anyone important. Alex walked these corridors every day, carrying a toolbox with him. His toolbox was ordinary to humans but considered curious by the aliens. It had spanners, wires, welding tools, and a few small electronic analyzers. On this particular day, the station was buzzing more than usual. A royal envoy had arrived. Everyone knew this meant the alien princess would be on board. For humans, it was a rare opportunity to see someone so high in alien hierarchy. For Alex, it was just another reason for things to break. Royals always demanded perfection, and perfection often failed in machines. Alex was cleaning a panel in the maintenance bay when the call came over the intercom. The voice was formal, clipped, and alien-accented. It requested a technician immediately in the grand docking hall. Alex sighed. He had been hoping for a quiet day, but he was also curious. He didn't like showing off, but he liked fixing things that seemed impossible. He slung his toolbox over his shoulder and headed to the docking hall. When Alex arrived, he found a crowd of alien nobles and human attendants surrounding a strange, tall figure. The princess herself stood there, her armor gleaming under the lights. The armor was beautiful, a mix of metal and biomaterials that shimmered in colors humans had no names for. It was supposed to be ceremonial, delicate, and functional all at once, but something was wrong. A section near her shoulder had locked into place with a loud, unpleasant click. She tried to move, but the armor resisted. Her expression shifted from calm to discomfort. Aliens around her gasped. Human attendants whispered nervously. No one moved to help. It was not their place, and even if it were, none of them had the skill to touch the living armor without causing damage. Alex watched from a distance. He felt a quiet pull in his chest, the kind that told him he could fix this. "May I try?" Alex asked, stepping forward. His voice was soft but firm. The room turned silent. Everyone looked at him. Even the princess's eyes, a strange green-gold color, flicked toward him with curiosity. "You are human," one of the alien nobles said sharply. "You do not understand bioarmor. Step back." Alex shook his head. "I understand machines. This is a machine. It just happens to be alive." The princess studied him and then she nodded slightly. "Human, if you can fix it, do so," she said, her voice smooth and musical. It was not commanding. It was curious. Alex approached carefully, keeping his hands visible. He set his toolbox down and opened it. The shiny tools glimmered under the hall lights. The crowd murmured. No one had ever seen a human technician touch the royal armor directly. The princess raised her arm slightly, testing Alex's movements. He examined the locking mechanism with his eyes and hands. The armor was bonded to her biological energy flows. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat under metal. The problem was not just mechanical, it was delicate. He couldn't force anything or it could hurt her. Alex took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. He remembered lessons from his father back on Earth about patience. "Slow and steady," he whispered to himself. His fingers brushed the edges of the locking plate. He could feel the pulse of energy. It was unfamiliar, but he had worked with enough strange circuits in his time to understand the basics. He traced the flow with his tools, careful not to pierce or scratch the surface. The room remained quiet, the crowd holding their collective breath. Minutes passed. Alex worked methodically, testing each joint, adjusting tiny regulators, listening to the faint clicks and hums. The princess shifted occasionally, her eyes watching him closely. There was no fear in her expression, only interest. She had never been treated with such careful attention by someone she had considered insignificant. Finally, there was a soft hiss, like air escaping a small chamber. The pressure in the armor eased. The plate on her shoulder shifted back into place. Alex stepped back, smiling faintly. "You fixed it," the princess said, her voice tinged with surprise. She lifted her arm fully, rotating it experimentally. The armor followed smoothly, perfectly aligned. She looked at Alex again, this time with what seemed like amusement. "Human," she said, "you are more capable than I expected." The noble next to her scowled. "This is unacceptable. A human technician—" "Silence," the princess interrupted. Her tone was firm but not angry. She turned back to Alex. "Stay with me. I want to understand this better." Alex's heart raced. He had done his job, but now he realized he was not just a technician in this moment. He was a bridge between worlds. The aliens whispered among themselves, shocked that a human had touched their princess and succeeded. The princess herself moved gracefully through the hall, testing her armor with Alex nearby, asking questions about every tool, every adjustment he made. He explained in simple language, avoiding technical jargon so she could understand. She asked about humans, about why they didn't rely on complex energy flows in their own armor, about patience and intuition. Alex talked about human habits, about fixing things because it needed fixing, because someone had to do it, not for status or reward. She listened, genuinely interested. Other humans watched, some with envy, some with admiration. Aliens murmured, realizing that maybe humans were underestimated. Alex, small and ordinary in appearance, had done what no one else could. He had touched the unthinkable and succeeded. By the time the repair was complete, the hall was quiet again. The princess straightened, her armor shining perfectly. She gave Alex a small nod, almost imperceptible but full of meaning. Alex returned her nod, unsure what it meant but proud nonetheless. Later, as the crowd dispersed, one of the alien attendants whispered, "He is lucky. She does not reward ordinary people for ordinary things." Alex did not reply. He packed his tools and walked back to the maintenance bay, feeling both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. He did not yet know what awaited him next, only that his life on the station had just changed. That night, Alex could not sleep. He thought about the armor, about the princess, and about the quiet moment when she had truly looked at him. Humans on the station had often joked about their insignificance. Alex had never believed it, not really. Tonight he felt the truth of it. One human, one act of skill and patience, could change how others saw him forever. He did not know the future, but he knew he wanted to see it unfold. And somewhere, far above the gas giant, the princess lay in her quarters, thinking about the small, careful human who had repaired her armor and earned a moment of her attention. She was not a queen yet, not fully aware of her power, but she knew that humans were different from what her people thought. Maybe, just maybe, this human was different in ways no one had expected. And so the story of Alex Carter, the human who fixed the alien princess's armor, began, not with fanfare but with quiet skill, patience, and a careful hand. A simple act, but one that would ripple across the station and perhaps even across the galaxy. After the incident with the armor, Alex Carter returned to his usual work, but nothing felt the same. The maintenance bay seemed smaller somehow, and the corridors of the station more alive. Aliens who had ignored him before now gave him curious glances. He avoided their eyes, focusing on his tools, his machines, and the hum of the station. Still, the memory of the princess's gaze lingered. It was not a look of command or superiority. It was a look of interest, of curiosity, as though she were seeing him for who he truly was. For the first few cycles, Alex tried to stay out of trouble. He repaired broken panels, rewired malfunctioning circuits, and cleaned the station's lower decks. Yet he knew that word of his skill had spread quickly. The aliens had a way of talking quietly in corridors, sharing every detail about a human who dared touch their royalty. The whispers were not malicious. They were filled with surprise and sometimes admiration. Alex tried not to think too much about it. He focused on the work. Then one morning, a formal message arrived. It was delivered by a tall, pale-skinned alien with multiple limbs, each one moving with smooth precision. The message was simple. The princess requested his presence. He was to come immediately. Alex felt his stomach tighten. He had repaired her armor. That was done. Now she wanted to see him again. What for? Curiosity, trouble, reward. He had no way of knowing. He took a deep breath and picked up his toolkit. He walked through the station's long corridors, past docking bays where alien ships gleamed in the soft light, past human crew carrying trays and tools, and finally to the private entrance to the princess's quarters. When he arrived, the door slid open silently. He stepped inside and was surprised to find no guards. The room was spacious, with soft light filtering through translucent walls. The air was warmer here, and the hum of the station faded to a quiet background. The princess was waiting, seated on a raised platform. She looked at him, smiling faintly, her eyes still curious. "You came," she said. Her voice was soft, almost playful. "I did not expect you to follow orders so willingly." Alex shrugged. "I do what I am asked. It is my job." He set his toolbox down, feeling slightly out of place in the elegant room. "Your job is more than repairing machines, human," she said. "You fixed my armor when no one else could. That required more than skill. It required understanding." Alex blinked. He did not expect praise. He was used to quiet satisfaction from a job well done, not compliments from alien royalty. "Understanding is noticing what needs fixing and being careful," he said simply. "It is not difficult once you try." The princess laughed softly. It was musical, unlike anything Alex had heard before. She stood and moved closer, her armor glinting under the soft light. "Your people are strange," she said. "Always hands-on, always willing to try. Most of my people would have stood by, afraid to touch something they did not fully comprehend." Alex smiled faintly. He had heard similar words from older humans, praising their patience and practical thinking. "Sometimes trying is all you can do," he said. "If you wait for perfection, nothing gets fixed." She studied him, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Then you are not like others," she said. "You are careful yet brave. You see what others do not." For a moment, silence filled the room. Alex did not know how to respond. He was a human, a technician. He had never been praised in this way, especially not by someone from another species, someone so powerful. "Come closer," she said finally. Alex stepped forward cautiously. She gestured toward a small console beside her platform. "I want you to see something." He leaned over, looking at the complex display. It showed the inner systems of her armor, pulsing with light and energy. Most of the symbols were alien, incomprehensible to Alex at first glance. She pointed to a series of circuits that intertwined with her own bioenergy. "This is why the armor is so difficult to repair," she explained. "It is alive in a way. It responds to me, to my mood, to my energy. It is delicate. You were careful enough to understand it." "Even my engineers failed." Alex nodded slowly. "Machines like this, even living ones, they respond to attention. If you do not notice the small details, you break them." She looked at him with a new intensity. "You notice details humans usually miss. And you are not afraid to touch what others fear. That is why I want to speak to you in private." Alex swallowed. He had expected perhaps a formal request, a mission, or more repairs. But this This was different. "I thank you," he said simply. He did not know what else to say. She smiled, and the smile held a strange power. "You will learn much if you stay close," she said. "Humans are underestimated by my people. We think in lines, in rules, in hierarchy. You think in action, in heart. This is rare." For hours, Alex and the princess talked. She asked about Earth, about humans, about how they lived and worked. He described cities, machines, teamwork, and human habits. He spoke simply, honestly, without exaggeration. She listened, genuinely interested, asking questions when she did not understand. Then she asked him about himself. "Do you like what you do?" she asked. "Do you enjoy fixing things?" Alex shrugged. "Yes, I enjoy understanding things. Sometimes people, sometimes machines. It feels good to help." She tilted her head. "Humans do not seem afraid. Most of my people fear failure, fear judgment. You are not like that. You are free in ways we cannot be." They spoke of culture, of ideas, of philosophy, in simple words. Alex found that he could express himself without fear. The princess, despite her royal status, seemed relaxed in his presence. She laughed at his dry humor and nodded at his small victories in repairing machines. The room grew warmer, softer, as the hours passed. Then she stood and walked to a small table, gesturing for him to follow. She placed a delicate, glowing device in front of him. "This is part of my armor's core," she explained. "It holds my energy flow and connects to the rest of the system. I want you to examine it. I want you to tell me how humans would approach such a problem." Alex studied the device carefully. It was unlike anything he had ever touched. Alien energy pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, beneath the translucent surface. He ran his fingers along the edges, testing its structure. He spoke slowly, explaining what he might do if faced with such a device back on Earth. She listened closely, nodding, occasionally asking questions. Hours passed. Alex did not feel fatigue. He was fully absorbed in the work, and she seemed absorbed in watching him work. It was not just about repairing or understanding machines anymore. It was about learning, sharing, and seeing someone act with genuine care. Finally, the princess leaned back in her chair. "You are remarkable, human," she said. "Not because of strength or status, but because you think differently. You see the small things. You act without fear of judgment. You repair not for glory, but because it is needed. That is rare in the galaxy." Alex felt a quiet pride. He was not sure what he had earned, only that his actions mattered to her and perhaps in a small way to her people. He did not boast, he did not celebrate, he simply nodded. "There is more to see, more to learn," she said, rising. "But for now, rest. You will need strength for the challenges ahead." Alex packed his tools, careful not to disturb anything. He followed her to the door, his mind buzzing with questions and excitement. The station seemed quieter now, less oppressive. He felt different, more significant in a way he had never known. As he walked back to the maintenance bay, he realized that humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because their strength was subtle. Patience, attention, care, and curiosity. These were not measured in energy weapons or technology levels, but in action and understanding. He felt proud to be human in that moment, small and ordinary yet capable of extraordinary things. The princess watched from her quarters as Alex disappeared down the corridor. She smiled softly, thinking that the galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Perhaps it was time to change that. Perhaps it was time to see the true value of a quiet, careful, and brave human who could repair not just machines, but perspectives. That night, Alex lay in his small quarters, thinking of the glowing device, the conversations, and the strange feeling of being seen. He did not know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing. He had made a connection that could not be ignored. And somewhere deep inside, he felt that this connection was only the beginning. After the meeting in the princess's quarters, Alex Carter returned to his normal work. Yet nothing was truly normal anymore. The station felt different. Aliens gave him more space in corridors, and some even offered small nods of respect. He did not seek attention, but he could feel a quiet shift. Humans, too, looked at him with curiosity. Perhaps he had crossed some invisible line between being ordinary and being noticed. Alex spent the next few cycles repairing systems, running diagnostics, and helping crews with technical problems. Yet in the back of his mind, he could not stop thinking about the princess. Her interest in his work, her willingness to speak with him alone, and the way she had watched him repair her armor, all of it left a strange warmth in his chest. He reminded himself constantly that he was just a technician. She was royalty, worlds apart. Still, he could not deny the excitement that stirred whenever he thought of her. One day, an urgent message arrived at the maintenance bay. It was brief. "The princess requests your presence." Immediate, Alex frowned. Immediate was never casual. He cleaned his hands on a cloth, packed his tools, and made his way to her quarters. The corridors were busy with alien crews, yet no one stopped him. He noticed a few glanced at him with curiosity or approval. They had all heard of the human who repaired the royal armor. When he arrived, the door opened silently and he stepped inside. The princess was there, standing near a large holographic table. Maps of nearby systems, energy flows, and station defenses floated above it. She turned as he entered, her eyes lighting up slightly. "Human," she said, her tone calm but commanding, "I am glad you came. Sit." Alex did as he was asked, setting his tools aside. "There is a situation," she continued. "My advisors and engineers have been attempting to modify the ceremonial armor to withstand long journeys in combat environments. They have failed. The systems are too complex. I believe you may have insight." Alex studied the holograms. Circuits intertwined with energy flows glowing softly. The complexity was immense, beyond anything he had seen before. Yet he did not panic. He was used to difficult repairs, unusual circuits, and machines that seemed impossible. He examined the problem carefully, running through possibilities in his mind. "The system is sensitive to human touch?" he asked. The princess nodded. "Not entirely. It responds to logic, careful adjustments, and awareness. You were able to fix the minor malfunction before. Now a larger task requires the same approach." Alex nodded slowly. "I can try. It will take time." "Time is acceptable," she replied. "I want this done correctly. I do not want mistakes." For the next several cycles, Alex worked closely with the princess and her engineers. He spent hours analyzing the armor's circuits, understanding the way bioenergy interacted with the metal plating. He explained, in simple language, how small adjustments could prevent larger failures. The engineers listened, some skeptical, some curious, while the princess observed closely. She asked questions about human repair methods, why patience mattered, and how small, careful actions could achieve results that brute strength or complex technology could not. Alex noticed something remarkable. The princess did not command him. She did not insist that he follow her orders blindly. She treated him as a partner, asking for his opinions and listening attentively. This was unusual for someone of her rank, where commands were usually followed without question. He realized she trusted his judgment, perhaps more than anyone else in her life. Days passed. The repair and upgrade of the armor was painstaking. Circuits needed delicate alignment. Energy flows required subtle balancing. Any mistake could damage the armor or the princess herself. Alex worked carefully, explaining each step. The princess watched, occasionally touching the holographic displays herself to understand the process. Through this time, a quiet bond formed between them. It was not romance, at least not openly. It was respect, trust, and curiosity. Alex found himself talking to her about his life on Earth, his family, his fascination with machines, and his approach to problem-solving. She shared stories of her people, their traditions, and the pressures of being royalty. They laughed quietly at small jokes, exchanged thoughtful glances, and sometimes fell into comfortable silence, simply observing the floating holograms and glowing circuits. One evening, as the station's lights dimmed for rest cycles, the princess spoke softly. "Human, I have watched many technicians, engineers, and inventors. You are different. Most act out of fear, obedience, or reward. You act out of understanding." Alex felt a faint blush rise on his cheeks, though he reminded himself he was human and these things were ordinary. "I fix what needs fixing," he said simply. "It is not about fear or reward. It is about the work itself." She studied him, her expression thoughtful. "Humans have a simplicity we often lack. We make things more complicated than necessary. You see the heart of the problem, not just the surface. That is rare." The armor systems finally responded as they should. Energy flows balanced, metal plating adjusted, circuits aligned. Alex tested the final calibration carefully, then stepped back. The princess lifted an arm, rotated it slowly, and the armor moved perfectly. No resistance, no awkward jerks, no glitches. It gleamed under the soft lighting, a symbol of both beauty and precision. "You have done well, human," she said, her voice calm but warm. "Not many could achieve this. Most would have failed or given up." Alex felt a quiet pride. He had done what no human or alien had done before, yet more than that, he felt valued. The princess did not treat him as a tool. She treated him as a thinker, a doer, someone worth attention. She gestured for him to follow her to a quieter area of the quarters. "There is something more I wish to show you," she said. Alex obeyed, curious. She led him to a small room filled with alien instruments, charts, and delicate artifacts. "These are not repairs," she explained, "but insights. I want you to learn how my people approach problems. Observe, understand, and perhaps improve where you can." Alex spent hours studying the instruments, examining alien designs and offering suggestions in his simple, careful way. The princess listened to each word, sometimes nodding, sometimes testing his ideas. Together, they discovered small efficiencies and subtle improvements. Alex realized that while he had repaired armor, he was also bridging understanding between humans and aliens. His ideas were respected, his skills valued, and his presence welcomed. As days turned into cycles, word of Alex's work spread through the station. Humans felt pride, aliens felt curiosity, and the princess felt a growing respect for the quiet, careful human who thought differently. Alex himself felt a growing confidence. He had always known humans were underestimated, but now he saw proof that patience, attention, and understanding could overcome assumptions, fear, and hierarchy. One evening, the princess spoke quietly as they reviewed energy flow diagrams. "Human, I have a reward for you. Not for skill alone, but for perspective, patience, and courage. Come to my room when you are ready. I wish to discuss it." Alex felt a flutter of surprise. A reward. He had expected perhaps recognition, a title, or a formal thanks, but this was different. He did not know what to expect, yet he felt a strange mixture of pride and curiosity. He nodded. "I will come," he said simply. She smiled softly, her gaze steady. "Good. We have more to learn, human, not just about machines, but about each other. My people will never see humans as they should, unless someone like you shows them, and I want you to be that someone." Alex left her quarters that night with a quiet determination. He did not yet understand the full meaning of her words, but he felt the weight and opportunity. Humans were underestimated, yes, but he realized that even a single human, acting with care and understanding, could change perceptions, bridge cultures, and make the impossible possible. That night, as he lay in his quarters, Alex thought about the princess, the armor, and the small but growing connection between them. He did not know what tomorrow would bring, but he felt ready. He had discovered that his skills were more than tools. They were a way to be seen, respected, and valued. He also realized that the princess, powerful and wise, had chosen to see him not as a human beneath her, but as a partner, as someone capable of more than anyone had imagined. And so, part 3 of Alex's story closed with quiet anticipation. He had repaired, learned, and earned trust. He had begun to see that small acts of understanding could ripple into larger changes. And somewhere in the heart of the station, the princess prepared to reward the human who had proven that patience, care, and courage were more powerful than status, expectation, or prejudice. The next cycle on the station, Alex Carter felt both excitement and nervousness. The princess had invited him to her quarters again, hinting at a reward. Alex did not know what to expect. He was a technician, used to tools, machines, and repairs, not honors, attention, or anything beyond his work. Yet he felt the pull of curiosity. He packed his toolbox anyway, though he knew he would not need it. The princess did not ask him to fix anything this time. The corridors of the station seemed quieter than usual as he walked toward her quarters. The hum of machinery, the distant voices of aliens, and the blinking lights all formed a background rhythm. Yet Alex's mind raced. He wondered what the reward could be. He reminded himself to stay calm, to act naturally, to treat it as another task, though this task was unlike any he had faced before. When he arrived, the door opened silently. Inside, the princess waited, seated near a soft glowing platform. Her armor gleamed faintly, adjusted perfectly from his previous repairs. She looked at him with that same mix of curiosity and amusement he had come to recognize. "You came," she said, her voice smooth and warm. "Good, sit." Alex did as he was asked, setting down his bag. The princess gestured for him to move closer to a table where several alien instruments were arranged. "Today," she said, "you will see what your work has changed. Not just the armor, not just my perception, but the perception of your people in my court. Humans are often dismissed as simple, weak, and incapable. You have begun to change that." Alex blinked, surprised. He had not thought about such things. He had fixed the armor. He had shared his ideas. He had not imagined it would ripple so far. "Your actions," she continued, "have shown my people that humans are patient, careful, and brave. They see what is hidden. They act when others hesitate. This is rare, very rare." Alex nodded slowly, unsure what to say. He had always thought of himself as just doing his job. He had never expected recognition, let alone a reward from alien royalty. "I want you to witness something," the princess said. She pressed a panel on the table, and a holographic display filled the room. It showed reports, assessments, and commentary from her advisors, engineers, and the council. Aliens of many species had submitted their notes about humans. Most had underestimated them. Many had dismissed them outright. Yet Alex could see new notes, observations about his skill, his patience, and his careful handling of the armor. Some even admitted that humans might have capabilities no one had considered. Alex leaned closer. He felt a strange pride. It was not glory or fame. It was the quiet satisfaction of knowing that his careful work had changed minds, even alien minds. The princess watched him with a faint smile. "Your work does not go unnoticed," she said softly, "and it should not be limited to machines or armor. You understand people. You understand how to act when others hesitate. That is a power more important than weapons, more important than rank. Do you understand human?" Alex nodded. "I think so," he said quietly. "Small actions can change bigger things. One careful act can make others see differently." "Exactly," she said, her eyes bright. "You have repaired not just my armor but my opinion and even the opinion of my council. Humans can do more than they are credited for, and you, Alex Carter, have proven that." She moved closer to a smaller table and retrieved a delicate device. It was a ceremonial piece, part of her armor's interface system. "This is yours to examine," she said. "I want you to see how it works, how it can improve, and how humans might approach it. I want you to give input freely, without fear, without restriction." Alex carefully examined the device. It pulsed with soft energy, responsive to touch. He studied the circuits, traced the energy flows with his fingers, and considered small adjustments. The princess watched silently, giving him space to work. As he worked, she asked questions, not about instructions, but about reasoning. "Why would humans adjust this flow differently?" she asked. "Why is your approach not like my engineers?" Alex explained slowly. "Humans try to see the problem fully. We notice the smallest details. We think about cause and effect. We do not rush. We act carefully, step by step. Even if it seems simple, it works. It prevents bigger mistakes." She nodded, absorbing each word. "That is why I asked you to come here. My engineers focus on complexity. They overthink, overanalyze. Your simplicity, your attention is rare. It solves problems without unnecessary risk." Hours passed. Alex suggested subtle improvements, small adjustments that balanced energy flows and improved responsiveness. The princess tested each adjustment carefully, watching how the device responded. It worked perfectly, and she smiled, clearly impressed. "You have done more than repair," she said finally. "You have improved, not just machines, but understanding. Humans have value beyond what my people imagined, and you have shown it." Alex felt a quiet sense of achievement. He had not sought glory, only to do his work well. Yet the impact of his actions was clear. Humans were no longer ignored. Their perspective, patience, and carefulness were now respected. She gestured toward a private area of the quarters. "Come with me," she said. Alex followed, curious. The room was smaller, filled with soft lights and comfortable spaces. She sat across from him, studying him carefully. "Human," she said, "I want to reward you, not for skill alone, but for understanding, patience, and courage. Your work has shown that humans are underestimated. You have changed that perception, and that is worth more than any title, more than any reward my people could offer." Alex felt a mix of pride and humility. He was not used to being praised in this way, especially by royalty. "I thank you," he said quietly. "I only did what I could." "And yet," she replied, "what you did is extraordinary. You see things differently, act when others hesitate, and repair what others cannot. That is power, that is respect, and you have earned it." She handed him a small, polished device. "This is part of my armor system. It is delicate and powerful. I trust you to understand it, to improve it, and to share its secrets wisely. It is a symbol, human, of my confidence in you." Alex held the device carefully. He felt the weight of responsibility, of trust. It was not a weapon. It was not a decoration. It was a sign that his careful, patient actions had meaning, that humans could make a difference, even in the eyes of aliens who had dismissed them. "You will help us learn from humans," the princess continued. "We will study your people's methods, patience, and problem-solving, and you will guide us. Your perspective is valuable, and your courage rare." Alex nodded slowly. He realized that his life had changed. He was no longer just a technician on a distant station. He was a bridge between species, a symbol of human skill and understanding. He felt pride, humility, and determination all at once. "Thank you," he said again. "I will do my best." "I know you will," she said, smiling. "And that is why I invited you here. The galaxy often underestimates humans, but small, careful, and brave acts like yours can change everything. Remember that." Alex left her quarters that night with a quiet resolve. The corridors of the station felt brighter, the hum of machinery more like music than noise. He understood now that his simple actions, patience, careful repair, attention, had meaning far beyond the tasks themselves. Humans had value, often unseen, often dismissed, but always present, and he had proven it. He returned to his own quarters and set the device carefully on his table. He studied it, not just as a piece of alien technology, but as a reminder of what humans could achieve. The princess's words echoed in his mind. One careful act could change perception. One human could make a difference, and patience and understanding were more powerful than many realized. That night, Alex slept with a quiet sense of pride and purpose. He had repaired, improved, and earned trust. The princess had shown him that humans were stronger, smarter, and braver than the galaxy gave them credit for. And tomorrow, he would continue to prove it. In her quarters, the princess watched from a distance as Alex left. She smiled, knowing that humans were underestimated for too long. Now at least one human had changed her mind, and perhaps soon, others would see the truth as well. The galaxy would have to reconsider what humans were capable of, and it all started with one careful, brave technician who had repaired armor and earned respect. The day began quietly on the orbital station. Alex Carter woke early, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The princess had promised a reward. He did not know what form it would take. He was used to repairing machines, fixing circuits, and solving technical problems. Honors, recognition, or rewards were foreign concepts to him. Yet he felt anticipation, a quiet curiosity about what awaited him. He walked through the station's corridors carrying his toolkit, though he doubted he would need it today. The hallways were familiar now, the hum of machinery comforting, the distant chatter of aliens and humans blending into a soft background rhythm. As he approached the princess's quarters, he felt his pulse quicken. The door opened silently, and he stepped inside. The princess was waiting. She wore her ceremonial armor, perfectly adjusted and gleaming under the soft lights. Her expression was calm, her eyes fixed on him with a mixture of amusement and respect. She gestured toward a seat. "Sit, human," she said. "Today you will see the full result of your work." Alex obeyed, setting down his bag. He felt a quiet thrill. The princess continued, "Your careful work, your patience, and your understanding have not gone unnoticed. Humans are often dismissed as weak or primitive, yet you have shown us otherwise. Your actions have earned trust, respect, and opportunity." She tapped a small control, and the room's holographic displays lit up with reports, charts, and diagrams. They showed the improvements Alex had made to her armor, along with assessments from engineers and council members. Notes highlighted the efficiency of his repairs, the subtlety of his adjustments, and the insight he brought to complex systems. Even aliens who had doubted humans now acknowledged their skill and patience. Alex studied the holograms in quiet astonishment. He had not sought recognition. He had simply done his job carefully. Yet now he saw the far-reaching impact of his work. The princess watched him, her expression unreadable but her eyes bright. "Humans," she said, "are underestimated across the galaxy. Your people are patient, careful, and brave, yet often dismissed. Your actions here have changed perceptions. You have shown that one human can make a difference." Alex nodded slowly. "I only did what needed doing," he said. "I did not expect this." "And that is why it is meaningful," she replied. "What you do without expectation of reward shows true strength. That is why I am granting you this reward." She rose and approached a small cabinet. She returned holding a polished device, part of her armor's core systems. Its surface glimmered with a soft inner light. "This is yours to examine and study," she said, placing it before him. "It is delicate, complex, and essential. I trust you to understand it, to improve it, and to share your insight wisely. This is not just a reward. It is a symbol of trust, respect, and recognition." Alex carefully picked up the device. He could feel the subtle pulse of energy beneath his fingers. It was not heavy, but it carried significance far beyond its weight. He realized that this small object represented more than technical achievement. It represented the potential of humans to be valued in a galaxy that had often dismissed them. "You will not only continue to work with me," the princess continued, "but you will guide others in understanding humans. Your people have skills, patience, and insight that are rare. Your actions will shape how aliens view humans for cycles to come." Alex nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He was no longer just a technician. He was a bridge between species, a symbol of human skill and patience. He felt a quiet pride tempered with humility. He had done his job, yet it had consequences far beyond anything he had imagined. The princess gestured toward a larger hologram, showing a simulation of the station's defense systems, energy flows, and operational circuits. Your improvements have made the armor more adaptable, more responsive, and more protective. Your suggestions have been implemented across other systems. Aliens and humans alike now rely on your insight. Alex examined the simulation carefully. He realized that even small, careful adjustments could prevent major failures, save lives, and improve efficiency. He had thought of these details as minor, routine, necessary, yet now they were recognized as crucial. Your work, the princess said softly, has proven that humans are not weak, not insignificant, and not primitive. You are proof that one human, acting with patience, intelligence, and care, can change perceptions and outcomes. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had never been praised like this. He had never been treated as capable of shaping outcomes beyond the task in front of him. Yet now he understood that quiet skill, careful attention, and bravery were powerful tools, perhaps stronger than rank, wealth, or technology. The princess leaned closer, lowering her voice slightly. Humans often act without fear of failure. You did not hesitate even when others would have. That courage, combined with your care, has earned my respect, and my people's trust. That is the true reward. Alex swallowed. He had never considered that repair work, patience, and understanding could carry such significance. He had only tried to do what was right, to notice what needed fixing, and to act carefully. Yet here he was, recognized, trusted, and respected in ways he had never imagined. "Thank you," he said quietly, his voice steady despite the rush of emotion. "I will continue to do my best." "I know you will," she replied, "and that is why you were chosen. Humans are underestimated, yet one human can make a difference. You have shown that clearly. You will continue to be a bridge, a symbol, and a teacher." Over the next hours, Alex and the princess reviewed more systems. She asked him to suggest improvements, to explain his reasoning, and to demonstrate human methods. He worked carefully, explaining step by step. She observed, asked questions, and applied his guidance to other systems. Aliens and humans in the holographic simulations watched the improvements with curiosity and approval. By the end of the cycle, Alex realized the full impact of his work. Not only had he repaired and improved the princess's armor, but he had changed perceptions of humans across the station, perhaps even the galaxy. His careful, patient approach, combined with his courage to act when others hesitated, had shown that humans could be trusted, respected, and valued. The princess stood, smiling softly. "You have done well, human, far beyond what I imagined. You have proven that humans are strong, clever, and brave. And that is the greatest reward of all, not just the device, not just recognition, but the knowledge that you have made a real difference." Alex nodded. He felt a quiet satisfaction, a pride that did not boast, but that warmed him deeply. He had always believed that humans could achieve more than they were given credit for. Now he had proof, not only in his own abilities, but in the respect and trust of alien royalty and advisors. "This is only the beginning," the princess said. "Your work will continue to impact humans and aliens alike. You will guide others, teach patience, and demonstrate understanding. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. You will change that." Alex left her quarters that day carrying the small device, his mind alive with new purpose. The corridors of the station felt lighter, the hum of machinery a rhythm of possibility. He understood that one human, patient and careful, could bridge worlds, change opinions, and prove that skill, courage, and understanding mattered more than others realized. As he walked back to his quarters, he reflected on the journey. A small act, repairing armor, had grown into recognition, respect, and trust. A quiet human, acting with care, had changed the perceptions of aliens who had dismissed his species. And he knew that the work was not finished. More challenges awaited, more systems to improve, and more opportunities to show that humans could achieve greatness through patience, courage, and understanding. That night, Alex sat at his table, examining the device carefully. He thought of the princess, the lessons, and the quiet satisfaction of work well done. He realized that humans, often overlooked, had a power that was underestimated. The galaxy had dismissed them, but through careful, brave action, they could change minds, build trust, and prove their worth. Somewhere in her quarters, the princess watched him from afar, smiling. She knew that humans were different, capable, and brave. She had seen one human make a real difference, and she knew the galaxy would have to recognize it soon. Alex Carter, quiet, careful, and brave, had proven that sometimes patience and understanding were more powerful than any weapon or title. And so the story of Alex Carter reached its quiet conclusion. He had repaired, improved, and gained trust. He had bridged worlds and proven human skill, courage, and patience. The galaxy, once dismissive, had begun to see humans differently. One small act had become a symbol, a reward, and a turning point. And Alex, the humble human technician, had shown that even ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things. The end.